Hey, Zach.
Hey, Alex.
And welcome, everyone, to the Pokemon Power Podcast.
Was I off on yours again?
I know that you fix it. I know you fix it, Zach. I know you fix the sync up.
No, did it sound bad for you?
It sounds great. You sound great. Our audience, if you're listening to this, I think you sound great because I assume that you sing along every single time. If you don't, unsubscribe. You're doing it wrong. You can resubscribe after a week of penance. Take a week off.
5 minutes.
Think about what you did. Okay,
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Think about it. Practice singing, then resubscribe. Play the video.
Zach, how old's Evie? He's your oldest. How old is he?
4.
What's the greatest punishment that you've given him? How long have you grounded him for?
The greatest punishment. I mean,
there's not really long for like 4-year-olds. He didn't steal the car or anything.
He's been grounded from like screen time for I think up to 1 to 2 days.
Okay.
Like
wow, that's quite the punishment. I would cry.
Yeah, especially during during
the pandemic.
Yeah, during lockdown, like we're also trapped with him. So it was a punishment for everybody. Everybody had to work through that.
Zach, if you did that to me and I was 4 years old, I'd learn some swear words real quick to get back at you.
There you go, Dad.
It's time for the like and subscribe jingle. Zach says I should funk it up with this jingle. I'm going to try.
My exact words.
He's always telling me to funk things up, and I'm like, I think you need to choose some different words there, buddy. All right. I'm just going to go for it. We're going to free bird it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Freestyle.
Freestyle. I'm going to freestyle. That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've just been nodding my head.
Nodding our heads. Yeah.
Like
Here we go.
Subscribe them and follow them. Leave a review where you don't yell. Pokemon Power Podcast. All right.
A skippity bop, skip scoop.
skip scoop, skip scoop.
I think my skippity scop was a lot better than your, angry, aggressive skippity scop there.
I only know how to skip scop one way, Zach, and I'm not willing to learn another way.
Okay,
I can't teach this old dog new tricks. Zach, this last week, this is a Pokemon podcast, but we cover all things games.
We do.
We're knowledgeable gamesmen. Is that correct?
Gamesmiths. That's what they call us.
We're the Gamesmiths.
New name of the podcast.
Honestly, great name. We should have named this podcast the Gamesmiths.
We'll switch it. You guys will see some rebranding happening soon.
Yeah, this will go through some comedy death ray, comedy bang bang rebranding very soon. But we cover all things games. And this last week, there was a Nintendo Direct, the first main Nintendo Direct in over a year. I believe the last one was like September 2019. Been quite some time. There's huge expectations. Zach, did you watch it?
No, but I'm grabbing it to make sure I don't confuse it with any other announcements.
Okay, fine. Well, no, I got some announcements in front of me. Yeah, I grabbed them. Kotaku is always very good about posting an article basically covering all the big things that were covered. I watched all of it. As always, thank you, Kotaku writers, for covering absolutely everything showcased. And as always, Geo Media, Kotaku's owners, you can eat my poo. All right, so real quick, we're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through our segment. Does this matter? We're gonna go through each headline as quickly as we can. Say if it matters, maybe 1 or 2 sentences why it does or doesn't. Very quick, Zach. Pyra/Mithra is coming to Smash. Does that matter?
No.
Why not? Because you didn't play Xenoblade Chronicles?
No, number one, which I want to. It's like one of the games, Nintendo games I want to get into.
Okay.
But number 2, I also have never bought any of the extra players in Smash, any of those expansion packs. So currently I'm so far behind what would matter that it doesn't matter to me. But maybe to somebody out there, it super matters. Does it matter to you?
I did play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I'm spiteful that it wasn't Crash Bandicoot. Yeah. And now I gave up. No more Crash Bandicoot. If you want to Crash and Smash, I'm just going to say it ain't going to happen. And I'll bet on that. Actually, I'll bet on that right now. Crash isn't going to be in Smash. There's 2 more characters that'll be announced.
Okay.
Neither of them will be Crash anymore. Okay. And if it is Crash, what should I do, Zach? What's my punishment if I'm wrong?
You have to
I'll make 2 pages of a Crash comic book.
Yeah, I was going to say an apology letter to
Crash
Nintendo, to Crash Bandicoot.
Fine, I'll write an apology letter to Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
but if I'm right, then you all the listeners have to write me a letter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Someone can hold me accountable to that. I'll love if Crash gets announced. Second announcement, we got to burn through the rest of these. Fall Guys is coming to Switch in the summer. What do you think, Zach? Mm-hmm. Does it matter or not?
That's what I was just looking through it. I think that matters. I mean, because it feels like Fall Guys is not big anymore. I haven't looked at like Twitch or anything like the streamers to see what's going and what's like the top. I mean, I feel like it was really huge to have like Fortnite on there, but Fall Guys seems like a good fit for Switch anyway because it's nothing happens and it's a fun party game. So I'd say mild news. I was kind of going to say the same thing. In the middle, not big enough that I would say it matters. I think if it was like it's on the Switch now, great, it matters. In the summer, who knows? Who knows if Fall Guys is still going to be a big thing at that point? It's definitely it's
tapering
hard with
off.
One of those games where it's like, ooh, it's on. It's like, I don't know, like months from now, will people care? Right. I don't know. Maybe they will care because it'll be on Switch, and a lot of people are going to play it on Switch.
Zach, a new Mario Golf game where you can run across the golf course, Brendan Leonard style. What do you think? Does that matter?
Mario Golf, huge matter. Big time matter.
I'm with you, buddy. I love it.
Big time matter.
I love that you can run across it. I will say, I wanted some crazier stages, but maybe, hey, it's the first time we saw it. Maybe we'll see crazy stages later on. No More Heroes 3 is coming out August 27th. That does matter. The Donut County guy is making a first-person shooter about demons in heaven called Neon White. What do you think, Zach? Does that matter?
I think that's huge. It matters on so many levels, theologically, philosophically. Big time matter.
I don't.
No, I mean, I'm never going to play it. That's what you mean.
Donut County, in my opinion, oh no, it's good. Yeah. Don't listen to me. That's a good game. Okay. And you should play it. It maybe isn't as good as other people say, but it is still as good.
Yeah.
Splatoon 3 is announced. Does that matter?
I wish that I've ever been into Splatoon, and I think that is a matter. I mean, it's one of the. I think it is the only response to shooters that really Nintendo has. I mean, they've ported in some decent shooters over the years and some M-rated stuff, but I think that Splatoon is a good one.
Splatoon rules. Zach, here, I want you to take my bet against me. Bet that Crash Bandicoot's going to be in Smash. He's going to be one of the final two characters.
Oh, yeah, I bet it. Yeah.
Okay, and so if you're wrong, you're going to play Splatoon 1 or 2. We're going to get it in your hand somehow. I guess it would have to be Splatoon 2 because you don't have a Wii U. We'll get you Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 3. And you'll play that. You'll give us your thoughts, okay?
Yeah. And just so everyone...
So this is the bet. If Crash is not in Smash, you have to play Splatoon 2 and report back. If Crash is in Smash, then I have to write an apology letter to Crash Bandicoot.
It's really a great deal for me. Either way, it's a great deal.
You get to play a game, or you get to hear me read an apology letter. You'll hear me. Yeah.
Here's a not great news though. Is currently Fall Guys on Twitch it says Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout has 2.7 thousand viewers right now. To give us a context for that.
More viewers than we got.
I mean, which is good for them, great for them. But like top is, you've got 142,000 viewers in Fortnite right now. Minecraft is still polling 57,000 for whatever reason. So
go in that Twitch chat and be like, hey, I discovered this podcast.
So weird. This podcast just brought up not only
they
Twitch,
talk Fall Guys all the time. It's called the Pokepowpod.
You guys love Fall Guys? You should love this thing about Pokemon. I mean, it barely has more than Jackbox Party Packs. Has 3.3 thousand viewers. So
I'd watch that, man. Jackbox, what a great game to stream. Miitopia is coming to Switch, but you can have makeup now.
Yep. So that's I'm certainly, for some people, that's a really big one. So I'm going to say medium, just to keep my personal view on, whether their makeup is included or not. But I understand it's probably good for some people. So I'll say medium.
I'm excited to play this with my kids, and I showed them the trailer and they said, cool. And I'm excited to play it and make someone I know the villain. And it'll be fun. Skyward Sword is coming to Switch, but you can now use buttons.
Great.
This matters.
That's a big time. That's a big matter.
Big time matter.
Mostly because because that's Skyward Sword is Wii, right?
Yes. And it's the one that people have 2 frustrations with, that you had to use the motion control on it.
Yep.
And 2, some people don't like the overworld in it, which I think I'm included in that. The overworld I'm not a huge fan of, but I do ultimately like that game. And I think I will enjoy playing that without swinging my arms around.
Yeah. I think,
and maybe I'll enjoy playing it swinging my arms around. Maybe I'll try both.
For a bit. And I think that's a great thing. If you can do a little bit there, or is it Skyward Sword, or also in like Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess, you just kind of
but for like
aiming your hand,
like the bow.
Yeah, you can aim with the bow in both of those.
I like that. That's fun for me to do a little like precision aiming kind of thing, run around. But when it's like all you have to do, that's my problem with whichever one of the Zeldas that's on. I think it was just DS, but it's like all the fighting was like on the screen, and you had to like scribble the spins all the time.
There's a lot of drawing in Phantom Hourglass, I believe.
Yes, yeah, which I beat. It's a great game, but man, did it make me mad.
Project Triangle Strategy looks to be Final Fantasy Tactics for 2021.
Yes.
We need to support any game called Project Triangle Strategy.
Yes. I think when they just amazingly translate whatever's supposed to be going on in Japanese, or whatever name that they want, and it's something so not marketable like Project Triangle Strategy, I'm for it. I'm for the art of it.
It's the exact same team that did Octopath Traveler. So I believe that this will not change its name. I think when it comes out, it will be called Triangle Strategy, not Project Triangle Strategy. And I'm for it.
Triangle Strategy. Because you Octopath and then Triangle. I'm for it. I mean, I love Octopath. I still haven't beat it yet because a bunch of other games keep getting in my way. Sure. But I love what I have played of it.
Sure. Me too. And I haven't finished it because I grew tired of it, but I will probably at some point go back to it. Zach, It's time for the segment Gotta Elucidate Them All. This is the segment where
Pokemon? We're going to talk about Pokemon?
Where we talk about Pokemon. Oh, wait, I wanted to say this. I watched all of this and I was questioning like, oh, will I get this? Will I get that? Like No More Heroes 3, definitely will get this. Like Miitopia is a maybe. Splatoon 3 is almost certainly yes. Skyward Sword's a maybe just because I own it already. But you know what I realized? When I watched that trailer like a month ago for the new Pokemon Snap, I didn't even question it because I said to myself, oh, of course I'm getting this for the podcast. And I thought to myself, I just need to start more podcasts about things that I like so I can justify buying them to my wife. I'll be like, sorry, honey. I got to do this for the podcast. You know, I host a podcast called All the Ice Cream Flavors.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what we got to do, we got to just broaden what we're calling this, because really, let's be honest. We've talked about a lot of things that aren't Pokemon. Pokemon is the thread underneath it. I think if we just expand it a little bit, it gives us an excuse for it. I mean, it's all tax deductible as far as I understand.
That's true. Right? That's true. I have been telling my accountant that. But, you know, we have definitely justified
I paid
buying
$5,000 in games this year, but it's for my business.
I've made no money from this, but I will.
It's investment.
We've 100% justified buying all the Huey Lewis and the News albums. But
yeah.
All right. The way this segment takes place is Zach and I will describe today's Pokemon. We both know what it is, but we're going to describe it in 30 seconds. We're going to decide who describes it today by flipping this coin. Zach is heads. I'm tails. Let's see. It is heads. Zach, this is you again.
Oh,
your second or third time this season you're doing it. I think third.
I'm ready for it and I'm excited. So just pop that picture up.
I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Zach has 30 seconds to describe today's Pokemon. He can't use any Pokemon names and he can't say the word cute. He can't say the word cuke is. I don't want to hear you talking about cucumbers in a colloquial way. All right, I'm bringing him up in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, what we're looking at here is what looks to be a big cat-like creature. You got some fangs coming out of there. He's in a punching form here. He's got a tail like a cat. I'm gonna say cat again. I'm saying cat a lot. Crap, I'm running out of time. We've got talons on his feet. He's yellow with electrical bolts, lightning bolts that are black all over his body, like a cheetah striped around him, aggressively yelling at you.
That's it. Zach, a wonderful description of his stance that he's taking. You kept describing that he's punching. I shouldn't say he. Some of these are ladies. And some are probably non-binary. But
I call all Pokemon I don't know. I call all
they should
animals.
all be they. But Zach, I gotta ask.
I get mad if I call them it.
Don't say it. They have personhood. Zach, who's that Pokemon?
That is Electabuzz.
And Zach, I'm going to give a little behind the scenes. We had a Pokemon for today I was not excited about. So I picked a number basically out of the remaining ones. I just randomly, and it was Electabuzz, and I was very, very pleased. I was excited. And then as I researched more and more about Electabuzz, I became more excited, more interested to talk about Electabuzz. But Zach, before we get into maybe some of my thoughts on it, what's your thoughts on Electabuzz?
Well, I was gonna look. So I've been looking over a few of the mangas that I have here, and this one right here, Volume 1 of Pokemon Adventures. Whoop, whoop.
Zach has a Pokemon manga in front of him right now.
And I was thinking that Electabuzz shows up in here. But I like him, it's easy for me to understand what he's doing, what he's about. And as I try to stare at him a little bit more just now, kind of a leopard type Pokemon almost that's happening. Definitely, I'm getting feline vibes. I don't know if they wanted me to, but I am.
Yeah.
But like him being found in the game, obviously you're finding him around the power plants. He's over there either feeding off the electricity. I don't know what he's doing over there. He just likes hanging out by electricity, keeps him warm and cuddly.
He's an electric Pokemon, yes. I
like him because he's aggressive. He's angry. Okay. It is angry. They is angry, and I always liked him. Actually, I would pick him in my younger days because I liked Pokemon that seemed aggressive looking.
Yeah.
I would pick him over Pikachu because I was like, Pikachu's just so cute. I want this electric guy. That's just, look at this Pokemon.
He looks like a fighter for sure. I mean, he's
and that's
doing
what I'm picking the Pokemon to do is to fight, man.
Totally. Okay. You brought up, and I wasn't going to talk too much about this. According to Bulbapedia, they're saying he's most likely based on the Oni, which is a Japanese mythological creature, a horned ogre that wore tiger skin and was sometimes depicted as a god of lightning and thunder. So very, very likely that's where it stemmed from. So tiger, wow. I mean, tiger's a cat. Tiger's a kitty cat. You were right.
But I mean, it's a giant electrical monster god that's wearing the skin of a tiger. I mean, sure. That's what I'm imagining it as now. You can't take it away.
Well, I think in a certain extent,
so if we have the real picture of him, if they do one of those real pictures of Pokemon, this has got like kind of raggedy, loose fitting, tiger skin that's like hanging off of this monster with like electricity. I mean, I'm loving it so far. It's like
Mimikyu, except instead of wanting to look like Pikachu, it's an ogre that wants to look like a tiger. Sure. Here's my thesis on Electabuzz.
Okay.
Electabuzz can solve the world's energy crisis if it weren't for discrimination.
Here we go. We're getting into it.
Zach?
We're getting into it. How do we fix the world? Hey, you were talking about energy stuff, electric cars. Well, let me tell you about a fake entity called Electabuzz. And I'll show you what's up.
Zach, I started to read these Pokedex entries, and I grew suspicious. I'm going to read some of them to you. I'm going to read a bunch to you, actually. We're going to talk through this.
Can't wait.
In Moon, it says electricity leaks from it in amounts far greater than the amount of electricity it eats.
Okay.
Now, Zach, I'm no thermophysicist. No, I don't know everything about thermodynamics.
Did you look up that word, or is that the actual word for it? Because I mean, that was great. You sound so smart right now.
I am a thermophysicist then, because I know that word.
Well, there you go.
But I know the first law of thermodynamics for the layman is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. But here in Electabuzz, he's seemingly creating energy.
He's doing what makes no sense.
He's doing it. He's breaking this. Now, I think you could, kind of mentally somersault, try and figure out ways that this still makes sense. Perhaps he's eating other things as well that are providing energy, and he's just converting that energy. Either way, it says it's far greater than the amount of electricity that it eats. He's producing tons of electricity. Now, we in this country, in this world, we're trying to solve this energy crisis. We're running out of a limited source of fossil fuels. But Electabuzz, he's got unlimited energy inside of him. He can power those things up.
Wow.
And you know what? They naturally will create more of that energy because Crystal tells us when two Electabuzz touch, they control the electric currents to communicate their feelings. They're sending electricity to one another when they interact, and by doing that, what do? We know that they create more energy because they end up creating more energy than the energy that they consume. So they're now creating more energy by just interacting with one another. We could just bring some Electabuzzes together, solve the world's energy crisis. Zach, are you with me? Now here's 100%. where things start to get fascisty. Where things start to get very questionable.
Yeah.
Ruby Sapphire says this: when a storm arrives, gangs of this Pokemon compete with each other to scale heights that are likely to be stricken by lightning bolts. Dang. Some towns use Electabuzz in place of lightning rods.
Smart. Other than how are they keeping them up there? It's just in big giant cages on the top.
How are they keeping them up there? Now, I said I think the very first episode of this podcast, the Pokedex should not be trusted. The Pokedex is full of misinformation. It's worse than Twitter.
Wow.
It's worse than Facebook, the Pokedex. And I read this and I thought to myself, Electabuzz likes to be hit by lightning bolts.
Yeah.
That seems very questionable to me. And as I read on, I realized that there is specific misinformation about Electabuzz in the Pokedex, because Red and Blue says this: normally found near power plants, they can wander away and cause major blackouts in cities.
Yeah.
Oh, scary. They're causing these blackouts. We better not have Electabuzzes in our cities, because they're going to cause these blackouts and they're going to cause all these issues. So we need to send them off into the rural areas. That's where they need to go. Right? Yeah. That's the Pokedex talking there.
Wow. And I don't believe it, because the sound of your voice, the tone of your voice made me really not believe it. So, I mean, yeah.
You don't like my Jordan Peterson impression?
Yeah. No, so I'm totally against it now. It's great.
But okay, wait. So here's why we straight up know this is untrue. Ultra Moon says this, that changes its tone. This is years later, 20 years after Red and Blue comes out, we get Moon, and then Ultra Moon comes out at like the next year. While it's often blamed for power outages, the truth is the cause of the outages is more often an error on the part of the electric company. The electric company just saw a bunch of Electabuzzes hanging out and they had problems, and they were just like, oh, well, let's just blame these Electabuzzes. No one will talk to them. No one will search them for answers. They just had people discriminate against Electabuzzes with extreme prejudice based on a lie.
Yep.
And I kept reading this and I kept thinking to myself, like that first one we read from Ruby Sapphire, where it talks about how they're competing to get struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Zach, you know what went through my brain?
No, but you're going to tell me. You're for sure.
Thank you for being a good listener on my show, Zach.
I'm ready for it. I'm waiting.
I was thinking about how old history books in America.
Sure.
And I'm saying old, but I mean, like, this isn't that old of an issue. This is like relatively recent.
Yeah.
How like history books in America would have like misinformation in them about slavery. And it was basically like, hey, just so you know, we weren't that bad. Like, slavery, not a big deal. That's what these history books are saying. For instance, I pulled this up. This is from an article on Vox called "How History Textbooks Reflect America's Refusal to Reckon with Slavery." This is by Cynthia Greenlee. I pulled this quote exactly.
Sure.
Zach does not like my premise.
I'm tracking with you.
Okay, thank you. Prentice Hall Classics.
I disagree with you, but I'm tracking with you.
Track with me. Prentice Hall Classics, A History of the United States, argues that all slave owners were not cruel. It says this in quotes: "A few slaves never felt the lash, and many may not have been terribly unhappy with their lot, for they knew no other." This was in a history book, Zach, where it was like, yeah, slaves, they probably liked being slaves. It was probably pretty good for them. It's like, no, obviously it was awful. And then it's like, we read this and it's like, we read about how Electabuzzes will just create more energy, more electricity just by like loving one another. And it's like, well, we can't have that happen because we're going to mistreat them because of lies the electric company told us. And apparently we're tying them up to lightning rods so that way we can like get our energy. These Electabuzzes, they're being mistreated by us because of misinformation.
Sure. I'm not going to deny your entire premise, okay? But what I'm going to say is it probably is not the best correlation to make, where it is pretty clear, at least running from the beginning of the Pokedex, that these dudes love getting electrocuted. It's not affecting them the same way as a person is. So they are desiring to be hit by lightning, because they also go to the power plant to eat the electricity. Now, I mean, again, you keep going back and forth. The Pokedex is unreliable in this sense, because you have Ultra Moon that says, hey, actually, you know what, guys? The
power plants are just lying.
Bad. And then obviously the power company supports Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, because literally the next entry is, if a major power outage occurs, it's certain that this Pokemon has eaten electricity.
That misinformation just goes right back out there. It's like it never happened.
So it's hard to say that, perhaps maybe Ultra Moon was written by Pokemon. I don't know if it would be activists or they're against the Pokemon. Who knows? They're just against power companies. But I would say that in general, it seems like if we were to understand the biology of the Electabuzz, they like electricity.
Sure.
Now, is it, how
I don't
power
like you
plants
talking
are
about
managed?
biology after the comparison.
That's why I said I think it's a pretty poor example that you brought up in the context. I think it doesn't really work in the sense that I will say Electabuzz loves electricity.
I will say we absolutely must throw out at least part of my premise, because if we continue down this route, we must admit to the humanity of the Electabuzz, and then also how inappropriate it is that we own them and make them fight.
And I think you may be undoing all of Pokemon if you're relating it to any form of ancient or modern slavery that exists.
I know.
As this month, a lot of the anti-slavery things are going on in general about
Black History
slavery.
Month. Yes, Zach.
Well, I'm saying Black History Month, but also it's like anti-slavery stuff's been all over the place too from a bunch of companies. But what I'm saying is everyone doesn't like that.
It's good that these companies finally came out anti-slavery.
Yeah, they're like, hey, it seems like everyone's against this. We also do not like this. Let's make that clear.
10 years after the legalization of gay marriage, they're like, hey, by the way, we're LGBT friendly.
Yeah.
It's like, now that we've realized you're behind this, we are too.
Yeah, it turns out pretty much nobody likes slavery, thinks it's bad. We also don't like it. But also Pokemon is going to say, hey, we are for sure against that. Except for with Pokemon, you can trap them all you want and make them fight and make them give you electricity. Because that's your plan of solving the energy crisis. It sounds like, Alex, your plan to solving it is we just got to trap all these Electabuzz. No,
we need free range Electabuzz solving this problem. Here's the thing, Zach, I do ultimately, I must agree with you. And here's why.
Okay.
Because when you talk about the Electabuzz and whether or not it actually enjoys this, I told you the way that this reads to me, especially the fact that we then later see that there's at least some form of lie in the Pokedex. Either Red and Blue is a lie, or Ultra Moon is a lie. One of the two is a lie. My guess is that somebody's it's Red and Blue. Here. But here's the thing. So we know there's misinformation there, but the basic premise of Pokemon, we must believe that the Pokemon, at least in part, like to fight, like to combat one another.
Yes.
We have to believe the scientists. And Professor Oak has told us that the Pokemon like to fight. They like to combat.
It's at least all we know. All we can be sure of.
With that in mind, we must then say that it is okay that we do catch these Pokemon, we do catch these Electabuzz, and they do fight. And with that, they like it. They want us to.
Yeah.
Sheesh, Zach, this is like
the worst
in my brain.
The worst
is just like how like slave owners
made.
Like how slave owners just like made it okay in their brains. They're
derailed.
like
You've ruined Pokemon. I've ruined
for
this everyone.
Podcast.
That's for sure.
We must change our name to the Game Smiths.
The Game Smiths rebranding.
So we never have to talk about this again.
After being reminded of the horrors that is the game of Pokemon, the rationalizations of every character in Pokemon to these animals, some of which can actually talk, some of which are Pikachu that's like has anthropomorphic, I don't know what you'd call it, has human traits of kindness and protection and honor. And we say, you can live inside this little
You can live in this ball forever. Here's the other thing. I was thinking about this. You know what they just need to do?
I don't usually you're going to sit in a computer somewhere forever by yourself.
They could make all of my concerns go away. Yeah, live in a computer. They could make all my concerns go away. That's every episode of Black Mirror, by the way. Oh, now you're forced to live in a computer. Hope you love this. But if they get that Meowth that can talk, the Meowth that's owned by Team Rocket, and they just get him to be like, yeah, I love fighting. I like to fight. I want to fight Pikachu. I want to fight Mew. They all want to fight me. I talk to them. They all want to fight. I know that's anecdotal, but that would be the only evidence we have. So I would take the anecdotal evidence. I would take it because that'd be all that we have. With that in mind, it is time to head into the Pokeball decision.
And on that encouraging note,
I like to fight.
How strong is this Pokemon?
I like to steal too. I want to kidnap Pikachu. Perfect. You'd be like, all right, I guess we got to let these Pokemon just commit crimes. It's the only thing they like to do. I want to take the coins.
True freedom
for Giovanni.
You know, I think it's time. The point of this podcast, the point of it is actually we are the Pokemon Liberation podcast, and we've really just been calling.
I'll switch
the next Pokemon game. Pokemon are free. All of it is either Pokemon Snap. You just take pictures of them, or if you can convince it to just walk around behind you, and then it wants to fight other Pokemon there, and you're just kind of there.
Let it live its life.
That's the only way.
Zach, with that in mind, it's time for the Pokeball decision. This is the part of the show where we assign a Pokeball based on how badly do we want this Pokemon. We can give it a Pokeball, a Great Ball, an Ultra Ball, even a Master Ball. We also have the option to flee or throw a rock at it. Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed by our own podcast.
Great.
But Zach, what do you want to do with our friend Electabuzz here?
In light of every horrendous thing that you've said or brought up in this one, I'm still gonna go with I'm going oh man, this is really hard for me, but I think I'm gonna say Ultra Ball.
Me as well.
And because he has the strength, tenacity, and I mean, I like the fact that this dude's kind of, he's out there. This Pokemon's out there hiding underneath trees during a storm, just waiting for lightning to hit. I like to just picture that. And then sometimes the other gangs of Electabuzz are out there. Thinking if I'm living in a city and you just see a gang of Electabuzz climbing up the side of a building somewhere just to get whoever's going to get top in there. And then it's just this, I picture like a bunch of like King Kong, just they're all climbing up. They're fighting each other, throwing each other off. I mean, I just love that. The guy's got tenacity, knows what he wants, and that is, let's all get electrocuted together.
Let's all get hurt.
But not because it's all like,
I know
our food is falling from the sky, cloudy with a chance of meatballs, but with electricity. And that guy, is strong, powerful. Ultra Ball.
I'm going to solve the world's energy problems. Ultra Ball. I'm going to catch 2 of these and then let them run free, but then harvest their energy.
Somehow secretly follow them, get that sweet, sweet energy.
I'll be like the first version of Tilda Swinton in Okja, not the second version. Okay. For all the Okja fans out there. Now this is time for the power ranking. This is our 26th main episode of the Pokemon Power Podcast, and reading through the list has become unwieldy. If you want a refresher on the entire list, check out our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, all at Pokepowpod, where we post the updated power ranking weekly, which we've been better about recently. We actually seem to do that now, which we're good about. Thank you, Zach. But I'm going to bring the list up for our viewers, and I'm going to say very upfront, Zach, I think that Electabuzz should be very high. I think Electabuzz should be in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. Top 5?
I think you should be in the top 5. Just a refresher for the listener. Top 5. Number 1 is Snorlax, of course. Koji Nishino all the way. Mew is number 2. Golem 3. Haunter 4. Arbok 5. And I would even argue, Zach, that Electabuzz should be sitting maybe in the 3 or 4 slot.
Okay, I know we don't always go to the numbers. Okay, I know we don't always go to the numbers.
Give me your numbers.
I will say, if you do just a quick search of his like base stats, he's actually coming in with other Pokemon like Kangaskhan, but also Weezing. We got Victory Bell in there.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't want to hear it, but Slowbro is up there with the total base.
Oh, I'm fine with Slowbro. Slowpoke is the one that we have a problem with.
Okay,
Slowbro's fine.
Okay, all right, he's in there. All right, and then it's hard because we get kind of mixed up in here. Alakazam is in this level, so I'm thinking top 10.
Okay, so I'm gonna
top 5.
I'm gonna make a big. Okay, do you think that Electabuzz would have a problem taking down a Clefable? Clefable's got Meteor Smash, but Electabuzz is already, he has fists flying all the time. It says that he makes a windmill punch with his arms like all the time just to produce more energy. So he's like throwing punches just to build more energy up this guy. He has huge moves if you get him up to like level 60. Yeah. I think that he is arguably, I think he's inarguably above Clefable. And then I think the question is whether he can beat Arbok, Haunter, and Golem. These are, I think, the 3 that it gets a little blurry for me. Arbok is a murderer.
Yeah.
But there's been murderers out there who are weak men. If you're not a murderer, listener, which I hope you're not, you're stronger than a murderer. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Or can be at the least.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with some type advantage thoughts. I know we're really not allowed to do that.
We found on it a little bit, but I'll hear it.
Up on their own. And I'm going to put him at number 4.
So you think just sitting above Haunter?
Yep.
I will settle for that. I kind of wanted him above Golem even, but I think
Golem is the epitome of what would actually defeat him. They would have golems sitting outside the power
epitome.
The epitome of this. The epitaph would be the wrong word. What is that even a word? I don't think it is.
I'm the epitome
just making up words.
A public enemy. Why you gotta go and do me like that? Put Electabuzz at number 4.
No. Epitome is the right word. So boom. Roasted.
What are you talking about?
A person or thing that is a perfect example of a particular quality or type.
Hold on. Let me put Electabuzz up there and then bring up the not the pronunciation. What's the word I'm looking for? Bring up the transliteration. Let me see how it's supposed to be sounded out.
No. I'm not crazy, okay?
You're crazy.
It's not crazy, okay?
The name of this episode is Zach is Crazy.
No, here it is. Epitome.
Epitome.
Let's hear it. I'll hear what it says in mine.
Me. Fine. Bring up the sounding thing up. Bring the sounding thing up and edit it in. Edit in you being wrong, you dummy.
Epitome. That's what it says right here in my head. There it is. It's perfect. It's saying it over and over again. I wonder if I could
bring it up. Here, let me bring it up.
It says it in. It says it in.
It says. Wait, hold on. Let me bring it up. Epitome.
Maybe I can have it in a British accent. No, it's fine. I am wrong. In my own brain, and so
we love Zach.
None of us are perfect. That's what I like to say. But anyway, he is the perfect example in picture of Golem against Electabuzz. That Golem is what they'd have around the power plant, trying to keep it safe from those roving
They'd be rolling
bands.
off the roof of the power plant, just scaring away the Electabuzzes. I think that's fair.
Scare them off.
I think that's very fair.
I know it's
Zach,
fair.
Anything you want to say in close?
I just want to say, guys, if anyone ever asks you to start a podcast with them, really think about it. Really, really think about it before you just say, go ahead, because you don't know what kind of, weird illustrations they're going to bring up when they talk about those Pokemon. And, just think about those things. And in that, think about the Pokemon Electabuzz. He, she, they, or them know what they want. And that is sweet, sweet, sweet electricity, So think about what you want and go for it. Climb a building and fight off the other people or things to get that sweet, sweet electricity, whatever that is for you.
All right. Great. I also want that sweet, sweet electricity. And I believe that we should commoditize Electabuzz.
You're on the wrong side of history, sir.
I love Pokemon. We can personify Pokemon. Pokemon are not people. But in that same vein, if you were Pokemon, we choose you. But I can't say that just yet because we have another thing that I always say at the close.
Yes.
As always, the Pokemon Power Podcast would like to thank bulbapedia.bulbagarden.net, sarahb.org, and Dr. Live YT. If you'd like to learn more about Pokemon, those would be great resources for you. If you'd like to ask us a question about next week's Pokemon, submit a game, or just keep up with the podcast, you can find us on most social media platforms at Pokepowpod. And as always, we love you, baby. Have a great week.
Bye.